Now we shall discuss about the politics in the city. As we were discussing about the development of the city and industrialization process in example of London, we were actually focusing how did the actual development happen. What are the fundamental principles or what are the fundamental stages that the city of London has crossed across. So now moving on our attention towards the political side. How did the people acquire the knowledge of politics, or how did the people come together to achieve something? That's what we are going to highlight in this particular segment here. Now, looking at the issue in 1886 in winter, the London poor has been exposed in a riot. They were being completely exploded because of the starvation, because of the lack of food, bread. They were suffering a lot. Many of the millions of the London poor who got migrated from various corners towards London, as in the previous chapter, we have discussed that London has been a place of attraction towards the people. 1 out of every 9 from England and in Wales would wish and dream to come and stay in London, because though London doesn't have any large factories to give exploded opportunities for them, but the small opportunities, small businesses which have provided opportunities for millions of people made London the place of attraction for the people to come in. But because of the bad weather condition, bad harvesting condition, the people were not able to succeed during that period, that is in 1886, during the winter period, when the winter was in severe condition, where it was in the extreme cold climatic conditions. People out of starvation, out of hunger, could not sustain. They came outside as a rally. So what happened? So the London people who were hungry, nearly 10,000 people did a rally from Deptford to London. So the first time in the history of the city, London, all people, especially the working class people, are traveling or walking on a special demand, requesting the government to do certain things to end up this starvation for them. So in their process of ending up the starvation, or an attempt to make the government to recognize their point of view that they are being struggling, they are being facing hard time from the bad weather conditions. So they want to raise their voices very clearly. All have come collectively, nearly 10,000 people gathering during that time. 10,000 people would be a very large number. So 10,000 people gathered and they did a rally, who are very dedicated crowd because they are suffering seriously, and it's a realistic one. It's not the showcased political rallies what we see today, which are being paid rallies as most of the cases. But during those times, they were truly genuine workers who were thrown out of their jobs because of the implementation of the technology, because of the lack of opportunities, whatever may be the reason, these people are suffering a lot. So from Deptford to London, they did a rally. Looking at this, alarming to the shopkeepers, because as we discussed in the previous part that most of the city of London is having small merchants who are having their own shops. So all the shops were shut down until the police comes and take the necessary action to stop the rally. So again the same rally has been repeated in 1887, a year later, in which again more number of people gathered and they also did a rally in the similar manner which was being done in 1886. But this time the police, which are failed in the first phase to arrest or to stop the rally, this time they planned ahead and they came with a heavy force and army, and they brutally suppressed the rally. So their brutal step has been recognized in the history. It has been marked as the Bloody Sunday of November in 1887, where the situation was completely out of control and out and right in the control of the army, which means that people could not do anything. They were beaten up, they were thrown away into the houses, they were pushed away from the rallies. All these things made them to declare that it is a bloody Sunday. Many of them got hurt. The entire street where they were traveling was filled with blood because the people were beaten up like that, and many people were running here and there. In order to disperse the people, the police started to use various kinds of methods to make the people to get terrorize so that they would not again further come up towards this extent to organize one more rallies. But this inspiration and this suppression brought it a wave back again, because when we suppress something, it comes up in a very large speed back again. So that's how it happened. When this suppression happened, immediately 2 years later, all the workers in all the factories of London went on a strike for 12-day strike, with a large masses doing the rallies across the streets without having a single pickpocket or without troubling any shopkeeper. They were all going in a peaceful manner, went on for 12 days strike, shutting down every business whatever is going on in London. This was the first major strike which was organized in the city of London as well as in the country of Great Britain, which they demanded that the trade unions have to be recognized. If the trade unions are not recognized, obviously the workers would not have any right to fight against the managements or to ask for their rights. Whenever there is a system failure or whenever there is a trouble for them coming up, they would need somebody to support them, because workers are a weak community during that period. So all the workers joined together and they want their own trade union to be recognized in all the industries wherever they have, small or large, in order to protect the interest of the working community people. So that's how the strike made historical significance. And then moving on to the understanding of the city of London, most of the historians describe this one as, yes, we have large population gathered in London because of various opportunities which are coming or which are offered by London. But the same way, the other side of the coin is described as, when a city is most populous, automatically you have a threat like the strikes or like indulging into illegal activities. As we already discussed, many of the people are got involved into the criminal activities. So this criminality, all these things will pop up only when you have large population and lack of opportunities. Yes, city may always provide a chance for you to get a better opportunity. At the same time, there will be a threat always behind the opportunity. So we should be very cautious when we are living in a large city. Or the dynamic nature of the city itself is that when we have large population, there are certain good aspects, but at the same time, the other side of the coin is that there are certain aspects which we need to be careful. If not, that may turn into the anti-social elements and they start to affect the society. So the politics in city was initially got struck with the severe winter session in 1886, when the London poor exploded of riots came out in order to express their solidarity and sadness because of the situation and request the government to do something. But looking at the growing strength and the huge mass coming together, the shopkeepers all will shut down their shops and requested the police to take the necessary action. But though they failed in 1886, in 1887, when the situation came up again, when the rally was organized, then the police were well prepared. They came up with a huge army and they suppressed the entire revolt, beating the people, hitting the people and destroying the people mercilessly. And that is the reason why it has been termed as a Bloody Sunday of November in 1887. So now, after this, many would think that once it was suppressed brutally, automatically the people would not try to attempt these kind of things. But when we suppress something, it comes back to us in a very large manner. That's what we have learned from history. Here, once again it is repeated here. Let us see here. 2 years later, a 12-day strike was organized, where most of the historians were astonished. Though we know that in London we have 20,000 criminals recognized legally, where we know that these all are criminals, where we know that they indulge in criminal activity. Even though they are there, out of this crowd, none of them have done a pickpocketing or indulging in any other activity, gathered, did a very large strike, requesting or asking or appealing to recognize the unions. The trade unions have to be legalized. Later, the large masses conclusion of the historians is that city population would always bring a large opportunities. At the same time, we will be possessing a certain amount of threat. That's what we have seen in the example of London as well as in the example of Paris.
If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel to get more videos on CBSE syllabus.